Hey up. Right, these mounting rails for the Interceptor 650 and the Continental GT, because obviously both bikes share the same frame. These rails are designed to work in conjunction with the sidekick or click lock system that LONGRIDE make, but they can be used as standalone pannier rails. So just to clarify that, you can use these pannier rails with just about any conventional soft luggage. They don't confine you to just using LONGRIDE's sidekick system. Now, I think this is important because luggage options for the Interceptor haven't been great up until now. I was really excited about the Royal Enfield luggage rails last year, but was then really disappointed when I actually got them on the bike. They were hideous. And not only that, they didn't work particularly well. The upswept exhaust design on the Interceptor and the Continental GT does provide some design headaches, but it seems to me that up until now, LONGRIDE are the only people that have actually come up with a practical and sensible solution that doesn't assault the eyes. LONGRIDE have taken the stealth route rather than it be in your face. They've tried to make it blend into the bike as much as possible. The top rail does sit a little bit higher than most coat hanger style pannier rails, but they've obviously done that to try and give you a bit more room for your panniers, because that upswept exhaust does limit your choices. And both the top and bottom rail are horizontal, which again is important when you're trying to get your luggage oriented correctly. It's the best solution that I've seen so far. LONGRIDE have taken advantage of the anchor points for the rear grab handle, and they've utilised it to provide another strengthening bracket to hold the whole construction very rigid and strong, whilst at the same time providing you with a further anchorage point that allows you to limit side-to-side movement, which can be a problem with some rails. As far as I can tell, these components are made from mild steel with a very generous powder coating. LONGRIDE are very proud of the fact that they source all of the materials from Europe and all of the products are constructed in Europe. Yes, this does put a premium price tag on the products, but with every LONGRIDE product that I've seen so far, the quality is exemplary, and of course you're backed up by European consumer law if you do have an issue, which I think is quite probably the best consumer protection you can get worldwide. If I have just one gripe, the instructions for fitting are not the best. They are very generic, intended to basically cover their entire range for the many different models they supply products for. And in the case of these particular rails for the Interceptor, I did find them a little bit misleading. But this is a brand new product and they may not have had time to reflect that with their instructions. And really, in any case, this is not a difficult job. I think anybody with an ounce of common sense would soon work it out. But having said that, I'm going to show you how to fit them now. So, starting off with those rear support brackets, there is a left-hand one and a right-hand one. And the way to differentiate the two is that once they're in place on the grab handle fixing points, the bracket that connects with the actual pannier supports should be pointing upwards like you see here. Now in my case, I have already removed the grab rail for aesthetic reasons. I don't see any reason why this cannot be fitted and still be able to retain the grab rail. LONGRIDE have elongated the fixing points, as you can see here, which should allow sufficient adjustment fitting with or without the grab rails. Reuse all OEM fasteners and only fasten them up finger tight at this stage, because you need to be able to jiggle things around a little bit to get everything lined up. Next up, remove your top shock bolt. Now, I have the Moton capstans fitted on my bike, and if I remember correctly, these were a prototype with a bolt that was only just long enough for safe application. Now, in normal application, you would reuse the OEM bolt and there wouldn't be any issues with that, but in my case, there wasn't quite enough thread left. I didn't really feel comfortable with it, so I am going to have to find some longer bolts. Now, it's important to remember with these top shock mounts that the shock absorber itself is actually mounted on a post, and the top shock bolt is only there to stop it from slipping off that post. So removing this bolt is perfectly safe, the bike's not going to collapse or anything. And if you're still using the OEM bolts, there will be plenty long enough for this application, you won't need to replace them. When you've done that, turn your attention to the silencer attachment bracket. Now, the instructions give the impression that you actually utilise the foot peg mount, but I found that didn't work. So remove your silencer mounting bolt and carefully withdraw it. You might need to support the silencer so that it doesn't drop. In the case of my bike, it didn't move anywhere, there wasn't a problem. And once you've withdrawn that bolt, it's time to put your actual pannier rail in place. The pannier rail goes on the outside of the exhaust mounting bracket, and once you've teased the bolt back through, you can replace the nut on the back of it and partially tighten it up, but as before, you need to have a bit of movement available to you, so don't tighten it up fully. Now, keep all your replacement fasteners within reach during this part of assembly. You don't want to be letting go of the bracket because there's nothing to support it. Then offer the top mount up to your top shock mounting bracket and replace the fastener. As I've said, due to previous modifications, mine was a little bit short, so I'm just fitting it here for demonstration purposes. Again, don't fully tighten it up at this stage. You need to have some sort of movement to be able to adjust and align everything. But once you've done that, you can now turn your attention to that rearmost support bracket. Now, when you receive your pannier rail kit, you will also find in the box 4 Allen bolts, 4 stainless steel washers and 2 locking nuts. I didn't utilise 2 of those bolts, they must be for an application that I'm not aware of. But the remaining 2 bolts, the washers and the locking nut are designed for fastening the main pannier rail onto that support bracket. And providing you haven't fastened anything up too tight, you should find everything lines up with ease. Once again, just fasten it up finger tight, and then it's time to go around and tighten everything up. And I would recommend that you do it in this order. Your exhaust and your top shock mount should be tightened up first, then tighten up your 2 grab handle bolts, and then last of all tighten up the bolt that holds the support bracket and the pannier rail together. And that should ensure that everything sits in as natural position as possible without any undue stresses anywhere. And that's pretty much it. Now, it doesn't matter what I fit to any of my bikes. Some people love them, some people hate them, but pannier supports are there to support panniers. It's difficult, if not impossible, to make them look stylish, and bearing in mind the anatomy of these bikes, I think that LONGRIDE have done a very good job. Certainly a far better job than Royal Enfield managed. I will, of course, leave a link, as always, in the video description down below to the website for these pannier rails. I believe they also do a similar version for the Triumph Twins, which might be of interest to some viewers. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos. I really do appreciate it. I'd also appreciate it if you would leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. I am, of course, going to be back next week, so until then, ride safely and I'll see you soon.